You've probably heard a lot already about why we need to save net neutrality. Here's what happens if net neutrality dies. Since the telecom companies like to talk about fast lanes, I'll use this metaphor. This is the internet as it currently exists. A highway with many lanes that people are using to access many websites and services that they love, like YouTube, Xbox Live, Tinder, etc. I know people have different internet speeds depending on where they live, but this example can be applied the same to you no matter what your internet speed is. The telecom companies claim they want to get rid of net neutrality so they can make fast lanes. They're painting the following picture. The current highway, but now with extra lanes that'll go faster to whatever site you want. Sadly, this is a lie. In reality, what they will do is slow down the speed of the current highway without adding any extra lanes, and then after some time introduce fast lanes, which are basically the same old ones that existed before the fancy branding, and they'll charge you extra to use those fast lanes, which means you are effectively paying extra money for the same internet you had before net neutrality died for no reason. On top of that, what they can do is, since they own the highways, if they notice that there's a lot of traffic going to a certain website, let's say Facebook, they can charge you a toll for using that specific lane to get to Facebook, and if you don't pay that toll, then no Facebook for you. Remember a couple of years ago when there was a fake rumor about Facebook charging a monthly fee to use it? People were enraged. This is basically like that, but instead of your money going to Facebook, it goes to the telecom companies. In other cases, if a telecom company starts a video streaming service, let's call it say Teleflix, and that competes with Netflix, they might decide that they should slow down the speed of Netflix in order to make Teleflix look like a better alternative. And if you think, hey, that's too predatory, they wouldn't do that, think again, because it already happened in the months leading up to net neutrality first being put in place. John Oliver went over this in his video on net neutrality. Netflix speeds were being throttled by Comcast till Netflix finally paid them off. And this is how telecom companies operate, like the mafia, offering protection from themselves. It's easy to make money if you're like, hey, I could stab you in the face, but if you pay me, I won't. Getting back to the highway metaphor, under the toll model I described for Facebook, you could end up paying double to watch Netflix. This is because the telecom company could say, hey, it costs $10 a month if you want to access Netflix, so you have to pay that on top of the $10-ish a month you're already paying for the Netflix service itself, which is messed up. There's even a possibility that the telecom companies charge Netflix for the ability to get a fast lane, which adds to the cost Netflix as a company is paying, which you, the consumer, will incur when Netflix prices increase to cover this protection payment that Netflix is paying to the telecom companies. And if you think that's ridiculous and could never happen, just take a look at 2017 and all the stuff that's come with it. It's not impossible. And these previous examples aren't confined to Facebook and Netflix alone. They could make a gaming fast lane for PSN, Xbox Live, and multiplayer on PC. They could make a social media fast lane that covers Snapchat, Twitter, and Instagram. They could make a streaming fast lane that covers Netflix, Hulu, and Amazon Video, and so much more. The death of net neutrality is also bad for entrepreneurs, because if you're starting a business and you're still small, but you get a lot of traffic, the telecom mafia can come up to you and say, hey, it'd be a shame for people to have slow internet to your web store. If you pay us, we can make sure that doesn't happen, which can be detrimental to small businesses because they may not have that much capital. And this is also another example of telecom companies being able to squeeze money for literally zero innovation and improvement to their services. Imagine if you had to pay for a Facebook fast lane back in 2005 when it wasn't even a big thing and your friends weren't there. You probably wouldn't pay for that fast lane, and neither would other people. And that means that Facebook would not have the growth it did. And it might not even be the big thing it is today. Which to some people, that's a good thing, but that's not the point. The point is that net neutrality allows startups and businesses to prosper and grow. The death of net neutrality would also be bad for education. I'm a big believer in online education. I learn a lot online, through YouTube, Udemy, Coursera, or even someone's personal project website. In college, I probably learned more from online tutorials and lectures than I did in my actual college classes. If net neutrality dies, this is at risk. First, there's the whole educational service fast lane that could happen. And if you're thinking, hey, the telecom companies wouldn't block education, you're underestimating their greed. They will make some excuse about how a lot of video bandwidth is being used by these sites, and boom, there is your educational fast lane. Then there's the provider side. Education on the internet is not completely established yet, meaning a lot of startups are still growing their educational platforms like Brilliant, Skillshare, and so on. So since in the previous section I said the death of net neutrality could hurt startups, it could limit the amount of people creating educational content as well. Now imagine a kid from a low-income family. She wants to go online to learn programming so that she can get ahead in her education so she can get a high-paying job when she grows up. But she can't afford the luxury of decent internet since it's now doubled in cost due to the death of net neutrality. Does that sound good for America? Huh, Republicans? And before you say, hey, I don't live in America, this doesn't affect me, you should listen to how you are wrong. So even though net neutrality doesn't affect your internet prices, many of the services that you use are headquartered in the US. Facebook, YouTube, Xbox Live, and a bunch more. These companies may have servers in your country, but their growth usually depends more on the performance back in the US. This probably means that we'll see more international tech companies and services rising from places other than the United States, but I'm sure Donald Trump and his party will see that as a win for America. But also, a big part of what makes the internet so great is that there are so many people from different backgrounds on there. But if paywalls go up in America, those Americans you love to destroy in FIFA might just disappear. And you may think that I'm reaching a bit far here, but I'm really not. If net neutrality dies, the way people interact with the internet will change by restricted paywalls. There's also the possibility of censorship due to net neutrality. Say there's a website called telecomcompaniesexposed.com, and their sole mission is to write about the ways that telecom companies are screwing you over. Your internet service provider could decide, hey, I don't like what this site is saying because it's true, so I'm going to block the content so people can't see how we're screwing them over. And that is censorship. And if after all this you think, if they do this nonsense then I'll protest and not pay them, really? In 2017 you're gonna do that? So much of what we do is linked to the internet. Banking, email, shopping, cat videos. Are you really gonna be able to protest the telecom companies by not paying them for internet? I doubt it. The only people that the death of net neutrality is gonna benefit are the telecom companies, Ajit Pai, who's likely being paid off by the telecom companies, the politicians that are probably being paid off by the telecom companies, and yeah, no one else. On the other hand, what will the death of net neutrality hurt? You, the internet user, America, small businesses, education, and a lot more. It's probably too late for this video to matter since the vote is tomorrow, and it feels like net neutrality will end up being killed, but please take action. Go call your representatives and don't forget about this, because even if net neutrality doesn't die tomorrow, those bastards will come after it and try to gut it for however long it takes them, because they want their damn money, and we can't let them be ruining the internet like that. And yeah, peace. Like, subscribe, comment. Woo!